Hey, and welcome back to your irregular Latvian lesson. As a nation that lives by the jūra, the sea, it is obvious that zivis, fishes, play a large role in Latvian life. You can eat them, be like them, and even insult people with them. What else can a Latvian ask for? So get ready for the ultimate guide to Latvian zivis. Let's go! Let's start with the most well-known, most Latvian fish of them all, lasis, the salmon. A worthy contender for the title of our national fish, the Sudraba lasis, the silver salmon, is what used to be portrayed on our 1 lats coin, which is our money before Latvia became a European country. The 2 lats coin was a little bit less glamorous, as it portrayed a govs, a cow. Next, karpa, the carp, a fish that you can find in every Latvian's dīķis, a pond. And not to be confused with karpas, because if you ask a waiter that you'd like some of those, he'll run away in horror, because he'll think you have warts. But zutis, the eel, I have never ordered in a restaurant, but I have met people who are slidens kā zutis, slippery like an eel, and that is not a compliment in Latvian. These are people who always are looking to izmest makšķeri, to throw out their fishing rod, to fish for opportunities, and not in an honorable way. They hope that somebody will uzķerties uz āķa, fall for their trap, literally, to get stuck on their fishing hook. So beware and hold on to your zutenis, which is an alternative word for maks, your wallet. To come back to fish that make Latvia, Renge the Baltic herring, a fish so Latvian it doesn't even have a Wikipedia page in English. This tiny relative of the Atlantic herring is what Grandma used to bring back from the tirgus, the market, freshly smoked and wrapped in newspaper. It was the most delicious thing ever. Tell me you're Latvian without telling me you're Latvian. I'll go first. Would you rather decorate your Christmas tree with Ziemassvētku eņģelītis or Ziemassvētku renģelītis? Bigger herrings, though, Latvians call siļķe, siļķe. Say that 3 times fast. And it is very much liked among us, especially siļķe kažokā, the herring in a fur coat, which is how we call a beetroot and herring dish that is popular in our part of the world. And who can forget the very strong-smelling siļķes rolmopši or marinated herring rolls? Just don't order it on a date. Or else your date might take offense and sacelt spuras, raise her fins, which is how Latvians express anger and displeasure. And then your date from a warm and open person might become augsta kā zivs, cold like a fish, leaving you with no other choice than to quickly tīt makšķeri, roll up your fishing rod, which is the Latvian code for get lost. But the most iconic and also a little bit smelly Latvian fish product is the one, the oily Rīgas šprotes, Rīgas šprats. I will tell you the history about how Rīgas šprotes came to be fully on Patreon. But no, this is not just fish. It is a political weapon. Russians have always, from the Tsar to the Soviets and beyond, considered Rīgas šprotes to be a real delicacy. So naturally, Russia was quite a big importer of our products. But now, since Russia's placed a ban on EU imports, some Russians are surprised to find these in a Russian supermarket. It turns out that Russians have been enhancing the taste of their own Russia-made šprotes by printing the etiquettes in Latvian. The East Berliner Alex from the genius German film Goodbye Lenin would be so proud. Another Latvian delicacy is Neģis, not to be confused with Nuģis, which is how Latvians call dorks. Neģis is the European river lamprey, this freaky looking fish that Latvians like to catch in upes, rivers. So in river towns like Carnikava and Salacgrīva, people celebrate Neģisvētki, the festival of Neģi, to mark the beginning of the Neģi fishing season. And speaking of zveja or makšķerēšana, fishing is a favorite pastime among many. Mostly men though, although women excel at izmakšķerēt kaut ko no somiņas, fishing something out of their handbags. Traditionally, fishing was one of the most important sources of food and income. Brauciet Latviju jūriņā, kraujiet zeltu pūriņā. Go Latvians into the sea and pour gold into your dowry. Today, makšķerēšana is a chance for you to see some truly spectacular Latvian landscapes. So take your badapātaga, your whip of famine. Jesus, we must have been historically a very hungry people. Your makšķere. Take your fishing rod and maybe you will catch the lielo lomu. You will get the big catch. Ne astakas. This is how fishermen wish each other good luck, not a single fishbone. But if, like me, you are more into the party, there are some more fishy festivals Latvia has to offer. Zvejnieksvētki, literally fishing festival. Jūras svētki, the sea festival, are celebrated by fishing villages and seaside cities throughout the summer. All of them are filled with fun, music, games and food. Especially the zivju zupa, the fish soup that they brew right on the spot. Don't miss out on your chance. Google Zvejnieksvētki 2022. Zvejnieku ciemati, or the fishing villages, are interesting to visit even outside of festivals. Maybe for the kūpinātavas, the fish smokeries, if you want to taste something truly delicious. Some fishing villages have turned into full-blown cities, like is the case for Jūrmala, where instead of old fishermen, now old millionaires live. And speaking of Jūrmala, if Asaris is a predator fish called the European perch, Asari is a place where I suggest you go sunbathing, because unlike majori, dubulti, bulduri and kauguri, at least you won't be kā siļķes mucā, stuck together like herrings in a barrel. And now, some internationally beloved fish that you might want to order in Latvian. Trout we love very much in Latvia, but we don't have a name for it, so we stole it from the Germans and we call it forelle. Same with prawns, garneles, like the German garnelen and the Dutch garnal. But sole in Latvian does have an exotic name, jūras mēle, the tongue of the sea. But its cousin, the flounder, has somewhat of an unattractive name, plekste or butte, maybe because it's also an unattractive fish. Cod, mēnca, a fat fish that inspired Es viltīgāks par tevi, mēnca. I am more cunning than you, codfish, a very important poetry collection for the Livonians. Not to be confused with Livonia, the German religious/military state that existed in the Middle Ages. Livi or Libieši, the Livonians, were a Proto-Latvian people of Balto-Finnic origin that lived along the sea coast. Their language, Libiešu valoda, is unfortunately dead right now, but learnable as a second language. But at least we have the beer, Līvu alus, and the discography of the hard rock band Livi, who have written a very fitting song for today's theme, Elektriskā zivs, the electric fish. And speaking of fishy songs, there's also Lielā zīve, Lielā zīve, the big fish that only wanted to spook the little fish, by the very popular Latvian band Eolika, which is kind of like Latvian ABBA, except they sometimes look like this. Now, to be a real Latvian, you have to check that your wallet always has zvīņas, fish scales inside, because this is how Latvians attract fortune. And speaking of symbols of luck, in the Russian fairy tale by Alexander Pushkin, Zelta zivtiņa, the goldfish can grant 3 wishes. But in Latvia, Zelta Zivtiņa can grant you unlimited calls, data and texts, because it is a prepaid phone card. So talk all you want. Some Latvians don't like to talk, or are very good at keeping secrets. We say they klusē kā zivs. They are silent like a fish. But if a Latvian really talks too much, instead of telling them to shut their mouth, you can say aizver žaunu, shut your gill. But note that this is quite offensive. Somebody saying that to you or other surprisingly hurtful situations in life might leave people feeling kā no laivas izmests, as if he's been thrown out of his fishing boat. But nobody said life was easy, and nobody knows it better than a Latvian trying to catch fish. Bez darba zivi no ūdens neizmānīsi. You can't draw out a fish from water if you're not willing to work for it. Un nu viss! Thank you for watching your lesson on Latvian zivis, fishies. I hope you understand us better, and I hope at least when ordering a fish, you'll feel kā zivs ūdenī, like a fish in the water. Make sure to check out your extra lesson on Patreon. There might be some new grammar up there for you as well. And Patreons, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it, and I hope you're enjoying your extra content. Everybody, what's your favorite fish dish or fishy memory? Leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Hopefully you are enjoying the summer wherever you are, and I will see you soon, maybe. Bye!